Here are the Swagman bike racks that I got to go on my roof. And here are all the parts laid out on top of the Amazon box they came in. So, a few different bolts. There are the instructions. There's the limited lifetime warranty. And here it is assembled, holding my daughter's bike. So it uses these U-bolts down here to hold it to the crossbar. There are 3 bolts there, including the carriage bolt in the center. Another U-bolt back here, and it holds it to the frame right there, and of course there's a lock. The whole thing took probably 25 minutes to assemble. The second one maybe will be a little bit faster. And here's my bike on top of the car, and you can see the straps that hold the wheels down. One thing you get at a higher price point is straps that are kind of built into the rack. These straps aren't built in, so they have to be taken off and carried maybe somewhere inside the car. Or you could potentially strap them to these holes here to keep them on the rack all the time. But they take a little bit more work than some of the more expensive racks where the strap is just sort of naturally built in. And so now I have installed both racks. But one thing I noticed is that the lock is on the inside of the roof for the other rack. Not an insurmountable problem, but it did make it a little more complicated. I had to reach over and feel for the keyhole and then work it that way. Okay, so we all have those little moments when we realize we've been dumb. So I'd commented earlier about how on this side the knob is on the inside, and I thought that was a little annoying, but no big deal. But once I put a bike on here, I realized that it's actually kind of a pain because you have to reach under and do it that way. And then I just realized, oh, of course, I just need to undo this bracket here and then flip it around, and that'll fix the problem. So I learned that the first time I actually tried to use this. So I came home and I switched it around. Again, I just undid these bolts here and took this whole assembly and flipped it around and remounted it to this center bar that the bike goes onto. And then when I did that, now the key here is on the outside, and when I go ahead and mount the bike, this knob will be much easier to get to. So again, it was just a dumb thing I did. The directions, I don't think actually specified about changing this direction. And when I mounted it, I noticed the bolt was on the other side, but didn't even think about how easy it would be to fix that. But once I went ahead and put a bike on it, I realized and fixed it. So I've had the crossbars and the 2 bike racks on my roof for a few weeks now. I've gone through more than a full tank of gas, and I've checked my gas mileage. It seems to have made virtually no difference, maybe a half a mile per gallon difference. But you know, there's always so much variation tank to tank, it's really hard to say. All my driving though was city driving. I live in a town of about 120,000 people, and during that full tank of gas, I never left my town. I never went on the highway or anything like that. So we're just talking city driving. And you know, lots of research has been done on this. You can find online that city driving, there's a pretty negligible impact on fuel economy with a roof rack. Highway miles are going to be very different, so I haven't done that. but I don't really drive on the highway very often. So if you're thinking about getting a roof rack, that's something to consider. If you drive on the highway a lot, you commute on the highway, it is going to affect your fuel mileage. So for me, the roof rack was much cheaper than doing a hitch rack, because my crossbars and the 2 bike racks on the roof, less than $200, whereas just installing a hitch on the back of my car would have been $300, then the additional cost of the actual rack. So for me, this was a no-brainer. It seems to have worked really well. I've been really happy, and I like it. The only disadvantage is there is a significant whistling sound that comes between about 20 and 45 miles per hour. But I only notice it if I'm not listening to the radio or a podcast or anything like that. If I'm playing music or something like that, listening to a podcast, I don't hear the noise. But at those speeds, there is a very significant whistling noise if the car is quiet. But otherwise, again, I'm very happy with this purchase, and it's working out really well.